I didn't know the exact
You want to
statistic.
hear the stats for women of color?
I'm scared to ask.
They don't exist. So, while I intend to hire folks of every ethnicity and gender for my staff, I'm hiring women of color first.
You just watched Jocko Sims in action as Dr. Floyd Reynolds on NBC's new hit drama, New Amsterdam. On Monday, I had the opportunity to sit down with Jocko to talk about the show, his character, and that interracial relationship that he was involved in on the show that has all of social media buzzing. So check out our convo with Jocko Sims and enjoy.
You know what's cool? See, she said, I think it's 2018. You told it like a TI is. I don't care as long as it's that. This was our goal, just to get people talking about it. And that was refreshing for me to see that it just sparked a conversation, because to answer your question, when I first saw it, I was a little nervous because I'm like, first of all, what he said was racist. And since you have that, since you have double standards, that wasn't racist to you. But flip it. White guy, black woman, having sexual relations, and he says, she says, let's take this further. He's like, I can't. And then finally says, listen, I can't because you're not white.
But that happens all the time. Like if you're Jewish.
But is it racist? But is that racist?
No, that's like cultural.
Okay. Some people would argue that it might be a little bit.
I'm just,
You're shocked at what she's saying?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
my coworker.
Oh, that's what. But so you know her, so you're not shocked because you know her. But some people would say. In fact, speaking of Jewish, I had a young man who we showed this at a hospital, and he was a nurse at a hospital, and he said, if the tables were turned, because he was feeling some type of way about it, and my concern, I try to really analyze, different perspectives of people, whether it has to do with race or not, when I'm looking at characters and scripts, and I was thinking, he's going to offend maybe people on both sides, and sure enough, it has. I got hit up by black women who are like, woo, that's right, tell them. And I've got hit up today while I was at the airport saying, what the hell are you doing? Don't be using us as no excuse to da-da-da-da-da, you really not down. So bottom line again, we're talking about it in this country. We're talking about the fact, what you were saying, who was saying about that was you maybe. You got your Jewish families who are like, just keep it Jewish. You got your Turkish families, just keep it, I want you to marry a nice Turkish man. That's everybody. And that's just how it is. And it's interesting because I've been in that position. I've dated different races, and yes, I have. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
You live in Iowa.
You just stop with your double standards. All right, so I've had my mom's voice in the back of my head. The only issue I had is like, maybe I wasn't able to come to terms with why I felt like I didn't want to take Susie home, where I just made up a name. It's home, you know what I mean? But it was like, I would be afraid of it. So I sympathize with Reynolds. Like, yeah, he's been there. He's going where I've been. But I never felt compelled to tell somebody, well, you're good enough for but you can't come home and meet mom because you're not black. Yeah, so that was a little bit initially unrealistic for me, but everybody generally is loving it.
I think it's generational as well.
Yep.
Because it goes back to your upbringing.
Yeah.
I was raised by my great-grandmother, and I'm an equal opportunity donor. But my great-grandma used to be like, if they can't use your phone, you can't bring your home.
I love it.
That was my great-grandma.
I love it.
So, I think it's generational, and I think the younger generations are, while we're still dealing with the elements that we're dealing with, I think there's been a progression. So.
Yeah, there's some progression, but there's a lot of pushback too.
It is.
And it's, I think it's good to have some dissension. I think it's good to have some generational conflict. At least, you remember the old when you're having a battle between the old and the new. All I would ask for the future, and somebody asked me this question, what would you want for the kids coming up, is just to, regarding all this stuff, is to be able to sit down and have a conversation with each other and just listen. I would encourage them before they talk to listen.
So to follow up,
Yeah.
is this going to be something that we continue to see? Because he did ask her for a drink since that conversation. So
Yeah.
has she come back to his apartment?
Yeah, well, there was I've noticed a couple people have been confused by that. I don't know if it was that clear. He said, do you want to drink? And this was specifically after she had almost died. And she said right now, because get a drink meant, right? And he goes, I'm talking about a glass of scotch. What are you talking about? So he literally was asking her for just to go have a drink so she can relax on the thing. So he wasn't asking for more sex. Yeah. Oh, you survived, girl. Come on, let's go get it on. No, he wasn't doing that. Yeah. So, but to answer the question also, will there be more? Yeah, you know I can't answer that. I can tell you what everybody expects. Everybody on Twitter is like, wow, we already know. He gonna blah, 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 blah. That's what I expect, you know, but we'll see what happens.
So I just have a real general question.
You get to answer that question in like 2 episodes.
What do you enjoy the most about playing this game?
Listen, first and foremost, I wanted to be a real doctor when I was in high school. I had a medical symbol on my high school ring. I was in the top 5% of my class. I was the president of my Spanish club. National Honor Society had all the credentials. I was like, I'm going to do this. I got to college my first year and said, I do not want to be in school for the next 12 years. I've always been a little creative, so I took a theater class, moved to LA, finished up at UCLA, got my BA in theater. Went on my first audition, booked it. Went on my second audition and booked it. I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then since then, you know, I've been working for 16 years. I've always wanted to play a doctor, and quite as kept, my last 2 roles were doctor. I was on The Resident, yeah. I did 2, and I was so happy. I shot that here.
Okay.
That was almost a year ago, and I was like, oh, I'm a doctor. 2 episodes. Ooh, this, wow, it's, you know, just great. And then this came along, and I got it. I just couldn't believe it. Now I'm gonna be playing them for hopefully a long time. And it's just really resonating with me. Just all the scientific stuff, and to be a surgeon specifically, it's just great. So this is, by a long shot, like my favorite role.
Can I take a moment to point out how God gave you the things that you did?
Listen, you do not have to point it out.
Okay,
I see it. Isn't that crazy?
To show you.
It's a bit crazy. Just almost like it was manifested out, you know, like that was, yeah, if I could find that ring to really solidify the, you know, the story's a story, but no, like, here it is, 1999, oh, I just aged myself, didn't I? Class of 19, yeah, so I'm gonna try to find it.
So you find the ring next
How
to
is
it.
There you go.
Atlanta as opposed to filming in LA?
So, now the business is just leaving Los Angeles for many reasons. I'm sure you guys have heard the tax. They don't give us any tax breaks over there in LA, so it's leaving. I heard for the first time ever, Georgia is the biggest production state ever. So LA's not even LA no more. We here, number one. So I knew that I was really fortunate enough to be on a show called The Last Ship for 5 seasons. My job was 20 minutes down the street for 5 years, and I only got to do it because the star of that show, Eric Dane, he said, I live here, and my home's in Beverly Hills, my kids here, because they wanted to shoot it in Virginia, and he was like, no, if y'all want me, then, so I got lucky, I was there on the show. While I was on that show, I had shot a couple other shows. I traveled to Detroit, I traveled to Vancouver, I'd done some stuff, and I'm like, I saw what was happening. I came here, and I said, you know, I'm gonna be somewhere else. And I said, God, when I get my next show, please let it be New York or Atlanta. Because I had so much fun and I enjoyed my time here last year. The answer to the question is that I love it. And he gave me New York. And I said today when I landed here, it's my first time back since last year, I said, God, my next job, please let it be out here in LA.
I'm about to bounce that email back to you.
Listen.
Okay, we have about a minute left. Does anyone have a quick question?
Real quick.
Yep.
Dr. Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
He is very, very stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
Are you stubborn as well? Because that whole episode with the ritual,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting in front of the TV like, let them do the damn ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much? Like, how much of yourself is in Dr. Reynolds?
That journey he took of the arc of that episode of going from there's no way it's going to cause infection, to actually not only giving in and doing it, but that's comes with all the stubborn people. It's actually, you know, there can be a little, but also allowing the family to know or feel at least that it actually worked. That whole thing, yes, I relate, and I'm on that arc, but that's spread out over the course of like 10 years. That episode arc is what I'm on, and I'm like not the halfway, somewhere between before the halfway. Yeah, I'm But this is what I love about we were so well cast, all of us, and they're taking stuff from our lives. These writers are sneaky. You be at dinner with them, and I'm like, they really like listening to me, because it's like, you know, they be just like this. I'm like, wow, and that's why he's so good. David Schulner, you put it in writing. He's a thief. He'll come in there and just be listening. You think he's, and then he'll get a phone call. Hey, do you remember what you told me about your mom and when you were da da da? Do you mind if we put that in? We put that in the script. All right, man. Come on, dog. Some of those words, that's amazing. Some of those words that I talked about, you know, imagine growing up, every black, those were my words. You've got something coming up with Helen Sharp. Dr. Sharp, played by Freema Agyeman. She's the black British, the Birkin bag. You got some personal stuff coming up for her too. So it's great. It's real life, and the show y'all know is based on real life, based on a true story by Dr. Eric Mannheimer. He created, So he really was diagnosed with cancer. He's still alive. Spoiler alert.
I hope you enjoyed our convo with Jocko Sims. Be sure to tune in to New Amsterdam every Tuesday night right after This Is Us on NBC.